बिनहाल उसको भी बुला लें, शुरू कर देना। बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु सल्ले अला मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद। नाराए तकबीर, नाराए रिसालत, नाराए हैदरी, लब्बैक या हुसैन, लब्बैक या हुसैन, लब्बैक या हुसैन। बर मोहम्मद व अहले बैत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अला मोहम्मद व आले वज्जिल फरज। In the name of Almighty Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, Allah shower His mercy on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his progeny. Now I would like to invite Brother Ali Zadeh for the recitation of Holy Quran. Bar Muhammad wa Ahle Bayt Muhammad salawat.
Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and Eid Mubarak. Eid Mubarak. Okay, in order to start our program, inshallah, I want to recite a few ayah of Quran Azim Sha'an, which is Surah Al-Fajr. And I request all brothers and sisters that could you please say loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
Jazakallah, brother. Jazakallah. Bari digar salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. We are here to celebrate the birth anniversary of our 11th Imam, who was born on 8th Rabiul Thani in Medina. His name was Hasan, title Askari, known as Hasan Askari alayhi salatu wassalam. He was the son of our 10th Imam Ali al-Hadi alayhi salam. His mother name was Susan. He married with a lady named Narjas Hatun, and Allah gave him his son. Our 12th Imam, Imam al-Hujja, Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wassalam. Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Some of the hadith of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam: avoid begging people as long as you can tolerate, for everyone day has a new goodness. Another hadith: worship is not abundant fasting and prayer, but worship is abundant pondering. It is continued thinking of Allah, pondering on His wonderful creation, because that would lead man to the absolute faith in Allah, the Creator, the great Creator. Another hadith, Imam said, Allah has imposed fasting so that the wealthy might suffer hunger and be kind to the poor. Another hadith, Imam said, what a bad man he is who has two faces and two tongues. He praises his brother when he is present and eat his flesh, mean backbiting, when he is absent. Another hadith, whenever a mighty one give up the truth, he become low, and low one keep the truth, he become mighty. Imam said, there are two qualities such that there is no quality above them. First, faith in Allah, and second one, serving of the brothers. May Allah give us the tawfiq to follow the footstep of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. On the happiest day, on the birth of Imam Hasan Askari, our heartiest congratulations to our Imam of time, Imam al-Hujja alayhi salam, and to Mu'minin of Saskatoon, especially in this cold weather. The brother is here. I really appreciate you guys. You come here. Bar Muhammad wa Ahl Bayt Muhammad salawat. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil. Chand ishar Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam की शान में सरापा करामत हैं हसन असगरी, सरापा करामत हसन असगरी हैं, अली की वजाहत हसन असगरी हैं. गुले गुलशने मुस्तफ़ा नूरी पैकर, गुले गुलशने मुस्तफ़ा नूरी पैकर, जमाले सियादत हसन असगरी हैं. हुई फ़र्ज़ साजद है जिनकी मवद्दत, हुई फ़र्ज़ साजद है जिनकी मवद्दत, अमीन इमामत हसन असगरी हैं. बर मोहम्मद व अहल बैत मोहम्मद सलावत. सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले. Now I would like to invite Brother Minhal to recite Salam ba Hazur Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam walantar salawat.
Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. एक दफ़ा फिर बाआवाज़ से बुलंदतर सलावत. है हिजाबों में अभी माहे तमामे अस्करी, है हिजाबों में अभी माहे तमामे अस्करी. इनक़िलाबे अस्र دور آخر حشر کی ساعت زمان میں عسکری انتقام کربلا پر انتظام عسکری شام کا اکمال ہوتا ہے طلوع مہر پر صبح کی آغوش میں پلتی ہے شام عسکری اختصار عمر سے تبدیلیاں رکتی نہیں اختصار عمر سے تبدیلیاں رکتی نہیں ہو گیا قائم زمانوں پر نظام عسکری روکنے والوں کی ساری کوششیں ضائع ہوئیں آ گیا اذہان انسان تک کلام عسکری
نعرہ حیدری
اس حجاب وقت کے اٹھنے سے کھل جانے کو ہے اس حجاب وقت کے اٹھنے سے کھل جانے کو ہے ذوالفقار قائم عالم قیام عسکری یا حسین کی صدا میں العجل کی گونج ہے العجل کی ہر صدا میں ہے پیام عسکری ایک خواہش جس پہ آصف دم نکل جانے کو ہے ہم بھی دیکھیں چہرہ قائم مقام عسکری ہے حجابوں میں ابھی ماہ تمام عسکری انقلاب عصر آئے گا بنا عسکری ہے حجابوں میں ابھی ماہ تمام عسکری بر محمد و آل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Now I would like to invite Brother Sattar Shah to recite Naat Rasul Maqbool bar Muhammad wa Ahl Bayt Muhammad Salawat.
صلوات بلند آواز سے. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. اتنی میرے قلم میں کہاں جان عسکری، کہاں جان عسکری. اتنی میرے قلم میں کہاں جان عسکری. مدحت کا تیری جو لکھے، مدحت کا تیری جو لکھے قرآن عسکری. جس نے بھی آج بزم ولایت سجائی ہے، جس نے بھی آج بزم ولایت سجائی ہے بالیقین اس پہ مہربان عسکری. پہنچوں میں کاش نین و نجف کربلا حبیب. پہنچوں میں کاش نین و نجف کربلا حبیب. دے دے مجھے، دے دے مجھے جو تخت سلیمان عسکری. دے دے مجھے جو تخت سلیمان عسکری. دین محمدی کی حفاظت کے واسطے سینہ سپر تھے صورت عمران عسکری. میرا بھی پھر قبیلہ بیبل میں ہو شمار. میرا بھی پھر قبیلہ بیبل میں ہو شمار. کچھ شعر مجھ کو کر دے اگر دان عسکری. مہدی کی اس کو ہو نہیں سکتی معرفت، جس کو نہ ہوا آپ کا عرفان عسکری. دیکھے ظہور آپ کے بیٹے کا جیتے جی. देखे ज़हूर आपके बेटे का जीते जी जाफर के दिल का है यही जाफर के दिल का है यही अरमान अस्करी अरमान अस्करी अरमान अस्करी
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Thank you very much.
MashaAllah, Brother Star. MashaAllah. I have chant some poetry from Persian, so I will try to pronunciate well. Shud Rabi Sani wa Fasle Shur Dil Bari Nagma Alam Shuda Ya Imam Askari I Imam Alameen Az Hama Hubani Sari Barfalak Maulai wa Az Mulak Dami Bari ए गुले पैगम्बरी या इमाम अस्करी ए गुले पैगम्बरी या इमाम अस्करी आयाई अज़कोसरी या इमाम अस्करी आमदाई आशिकाने नहल ज़हरा रासमर शुद अज अल्ताफ़ खुदा हज़रत हादी पिदर ए गुले पैगम्बरी या इमाम अस्करी आयाई अज़कोसरी या इमाम अस्करी बर मोहम्मद व अहले बैत मोहम्मद सलावत सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद व अज्जिल फरजहम. Now I would like to invite Brother Ali Zadeh for the recitation of poetry in the favor of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. Balantar salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
बारे दीगर salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Okay, dear brothers and sisters, again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is a ghazal from Khwaja Hafiz Shirazi about the Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif originally. But right now, today or tonight is the birthday of Hazrat Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam, who is the father of Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. And I want to recite this one just like a poem, yes? Yeah. And I wish that, could you please say loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad Ajjal Farjah. یوسف گم گشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور آید به کنعان غم مخور کلبه احزان شود روز گلستان غم مخور روز گلستان غم مخور ای دل غم دیده حالت بشود دل بد مکن ای دل غم دیده حالت بشود دل بد مکن وین سر شوریده باز آید بسامان غم مخور آید بسامان غم مخور یوسف گم گشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور آید به کنعان غم مخور کلبه احزان شود روز گلستان غم مخور روز گلستان غم مخور گر بهار عمر باشد باز بر تخت چمن گر بهار عمر باشد باز بر تخت چمن چتر گل بر سر کشی ای مرغ خوشخوان غم مخور. دوری گردون گرد و روزی بر مراد ما نرفت. دوری گردون گرد و روزی بر مراد ما نرفت. دایما یکسان نباشد حال دوران غم مخور. حال دوران غم مخور. یوسف گم گشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور. آید به کنعان غم مخور. کلبه احزان شود روز گلستان غم مخور. روز گلستان غم مخور. در بیابان گر به شوق کعبه خواهی زد قدم. در بیابان گر به شوق کعبه خواهی زد قدم. سرزنش ها گر کند خار مغیلان غم مخور. خار مغیلان غم مخور. گرچه منزل بس خطر ناک است و مقصد ناپدید. گرچه منزل بس خطر ناک است و مقصد ناپدید. هیچ راهی نیست و کان را نیست و پایان غم مخور. نیست و پایان غم مخور. یوسف گم گشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور. آید به کنعان غم مخور. حافظا در کنج فقر و خلوت شبهای تار. حافظا در کنج فقر و خلوت شبهای تار. تا بود وردت دعا و درس قرآن غم مخور. درس قرآن غم مخور. حافظا در کنج فقر و خلوتی شبهای تار. تا بود وردت دعا و درس قرآن غم مخور. درس قرآن غم مخور. یوسف گم گشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور. آید به کنعان غم مخور. Thank you. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Jazakallah, brother. Jazakallah. Now I would like to invite Brother Nader Shah to recite poetry by Muhammad wa Ahl Bayt Muhammad Salawat.
نه بابا شب جشن شب عید است. خدا انشالله حاجت های همه را برآورده کنه. انشالله تعجیل در فرج ولی عصر ارواحنا له الفدا و عنایت بفرمایه. چشمان ضعیف ما و شما را به جمال حضرت مهدی انشالله روشن بفرمایه. خب ما این شب حاجت خود میخوایم. We are need our haja from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know this night very important night of birthday of father of Ibn Rasulullah, father of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. Sallu ala nabi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا رحمن يا رحيم قال الله سبحانه تعالى في قرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
يا أهل بيت الرسول الله حبكم فرض من الله فانزلوا في القرآن عظيم القدر إنكم من لم يصل عليكم فلا صلاة له. اللهم صل على محمد. ای جانم ابا مهدی ای جانم ابا مهدی ای تا ابد نام و نشانم یا ابا مهدی وقت سحر اردان انگور میگوید وقت سحر هر دانه انگور میگوید ای باغبان مهربانم یا ابا مهدی صلوا علی مهدی صلوا علی عسکری اللهم صل علی محمد این آتش دیرین امرا شعله ورتر کن این آتش دیرین امرا شعله ورتر کن بگذار بی‌تابت بمانم یا ابا المهدی دستان تو مثل حسن آورده رزقم را ای بانیه ای بانی هر لقمنانم یا ابا مهدی صلوا علی مهدی صلوا علی عسکری قسمت شود در سامرا در جشن ولادت قسمت شود در سامرا در جشن میلادت در صحن مولودی بخانم یا ابا المهدی امشب به عشق تو دوباره عهد میبندم امشب به عشق تو دوباره عهد میبندم با حضرت صاحب زمانم با حضرت صاحب زمانم یا ابا المهدی صلوا علی محمد صلوا علی مهدی و صلوا علی عسکری هر صبح مشتاقانه وکحل ناظری خواندم هر صبح مشتاقانه وکحل ناظری خواندم صلوا علی النبی روشن شود تا دیدگانم یا ابا المهدی بر قامتی زیبای فرزندت همین جمعه آمین بگو دردت بجانم یا ابا المهدی صلوا علی محمد وصلوا على المهدي وصلوا على العسكري اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
Jazakallah, brother, Jazakallah. Narae Takbir, Allahu Akbar. Narae Risalat, Narae Hadari, Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain. Bar Muhammadu Ahl Bayt Muhammad Salawat. Allahumma Salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. I would like to invite Moulana Sekou Ali to recite Majlis-e Milad Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam bulantar salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الهمم ولا يناله غوص الفتن الذي ليس لصفته هد مهدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت معدود ولا أجل ممدود، فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بسخور ميادان أرضه. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين، سيدنا الممجد، بشرنا المصدق، نذرنا المؤيد، المصطفى الأمجد، محمود الأحمد، الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المأسومين الذين قال عنهم الرسول: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل البيت وخاستي وهامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا سلم لمن سالمهم وحرب لمن حاربهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. أنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is an honor and a blessing to be here today amongst you all. Alhamdulillah, we have a storm in Saskatoon, and many of us couldn't make it. You don't know how much Allah bless those people who are here today. You have so much blessing to go out of your comfort zone and just come today for the majlis of Imam Hasan Askari. So awalan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his angels pray and send their salutations to the Prophet. O you who believe, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Could we read a second salawat for ourselves and for people who have right over us, for our people who are ill, those who are struggling, our marhumeen, and those who have asked for du'as. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And thirdly, let's read the third salawat for the reappearance of our beloved Imam, the son of Imam Hasan Askari, Imam Mahdi, Ajallahu ta'ala al-Farajah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And as I have custom, I usually ask all of us in the gathering to read the Surah Fatiha for our marhumeen. And the marhumeen are all Muslimin that have passed away. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa aqra Surah al-Fatiha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, we are here today to celebrate the birth anniversary of our beloved Imam Hasan Askari. we're celebrating the day that he came to life. Imam Hasan Askari, just like the rest of our Imams, had a purpose. He came, he was born, he lived a life of human just like us, because he's one of us, and he fulfilled his purpose, and passed away and went back to his Lord. He had the privilege to know his purpose, right? His purpose was to guide us towards the path of Tawheed. His purpose was to guide us towards the path of eternal bliss, towards the path of joining Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and towards the path of Jannatul Firdaus. That was his purpose. He fulfilled his purpose brilliantly and joined his Lord. Purpose. Every one of us in our lives, in this room, outside of this room, in the entire universe, have at least once questioned what is their purpose on this earth. There is no exception. If you haven't even once asked what's your purpose on this world, then I don't know, what have you been doing? Perhaps everything is gone perfect for you, right? So, inshallah, tonight, I will try with the best of my abilities to answer the question of purpose. Purpose, what is our purpose? Why have we come to this earth? Why are we born? Why do we go through so much suffering? What's the point? What's the point of me waking up in the morning, going to work, struggling to make money or to make somebody else rich, and then retire, travel the world if I can, eventually die? What's the point of all this suffering, all these calamities, all this misery that I go through? What's the point? What's the purpose in this dunya? In the past decades, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In this past decade also, there's been a term that emerged in our communities. Initially comes from the non-Muslim community, but this term is called YOLO. You only live once, right? So this terms teaches us that this life is only once, right? What's the point to give yourself so much headache? Go have fun, party, I don't know, make the most of your youth. Don't care about anything else. Do whatever you want. Take risks. Right? YOLO, you only live once. It has affected the non-Muslim community quite a lot. But not only them, including ourselves, it has affected us in more ways than we think. Right? Amongst the youth, we believe that it's okay. I can commit as much sin as I want. It's okay. One day I'll repent. Allah is Rahman Rahim. Ghafar. Allah will forgive every sin. He's merciful. His mercy is beyond everything. Right? So I can commit any sins that I want. Inshallah, one day I will go to Hajj and I will, repent, and I won't commit no sins after that. So that's, the perception we have, right? And I'm saying the youth, but I'm also saying everybody else, all of us. We tend to push important things to later, inshallah. Let me not have the headache of thinking about this important thing right now, right? So right now, I'm just going to enjoy myself. Oh, it's too much headache. Let's put it on the side. Including our spiritual growth. We leave our spiritual growth to another time. When is that time going to come? Baba, life is short. Okay? Life is short. This YOLO doesn't work. Right? I'm saying it appeared in the past decade or so, But no, it was there way before. That's the oldest trick of shaitan. Whenever you want to do something beneficial and something important, shaitan tells you, it's okay, leave it. You got time. As if we know that, we know that we have an eternal life. We have plenty of years coming, so therefore, we'll just enjoy ourselves. We're not going to think about our spiritual growth. So coming, what does Quran says about YOLO? Right? Quran says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَإِنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Did you really think that we created you in vain? And that you will not return towards me, towards us? Us is the plural us, it's not actually multiple beings, but yes. Quran tells you that you haven't been created in vain. You have a purpose. Your creation has a purpose. My creation has a purpose. All of our creation has a purpose. We're not here purposeless. We're not here just to go to work and then, come back and that's it. Live a life of a routine and die. No. We have a purpose. So, Allah says we have a purpose. Then what is that purpose? You may ask. Right? What is that purpose? He's telling us, yes, He hasn't created us in vain, right? But what is the purpose? Tell us. We're curious, right? You can't just tell us you haven't created us in vain and then just leave us hanging, right? No, of course He doesn't leave us hanging. He tells us what's our purpose. He says, actually, let's go to the following verses that comes after the verse that I've just quoted. He says, ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون. I want no sustenance from them, nor do I want them to feed me. He didn't create us in vain. He created us with a purpose, right? And we will go back to Him. But He says, I don't want nothing from you guys. I don't want no sustenance, right? I don't want you to feed me. It's not like anywhere else where you have to feed your Lord. No, He doesn't want. Because what? He says, إِنَّ اللَّهُ وَالرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينَ. Right? God is certainly the great provider, the Lord of strength and power. So you're telling me you haven't created us in vain. You've created, and we will go back to you. I'm going through all the suffering. Why was it for? What was it for? And then he says that I am your sustainer. I give you risk. I give you risk. Don't worry about me. I've created you not in vain. I am your provider. I am the one who has all the power. Right? صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Allah says that He has created us in another part in the verse. He has created us لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Right? The purpose of our creation is to worship Him. To worship Him. We have been created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone may say, yes, so you're telling me, you create me, I didn't even ask you to create me, right? And then you're telling me you created me to worship you. What's that? Did I ask for it? Did I ask for all this suffering? No. I was minding my business, right? Actually, you weren't minding your business because you didn't exist. Your mind didn't exist. Nothing of you existed. Allah, as a God, by definition, needs to create. He creates. And He gives His sustenance. Because what? That's by definition. God, by definition, has to be Razaq. A God that doesn't give you risk is not a God. A God that doesn't create is not a God. He has to be a creator. He has to have people to worship Him. Right? Whether you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or you don't, Allah will still be Allah because He has other creation that worship Him. The birds worship Allah. The mountains worship Allah. The river worship Allah. The animals worship Allah. If you want to have takabbur, you want to have pride and ego and say that, who are you so that I worship you? Do it. But it's not going to diminish anything in His might. Nothing is going to stay Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi says, God did not create mankind except for acquisition of knowledge of Him, and when they acquire knowledge of Him, they worship Him. Whoever worships Him is needless of serving other objects of worship. So if you look at mankind, mankind is drawn towards worshipping someone or something. You look at the history of mankind, you will see that our predecessors were worshipping something. It's only recently that we've had the ego to say, the pride to say that I'm not worshipping no one. There is no God. The existence of God wasn't questioned before. Yes, the howness of the existence of God was questioned, right? How many gods, or what is this God doing? But the existence of God wasn't questioned as such. Yes, we are drawn towards worshipping something. That's for sure. Often nowadays we have people who worship money, for example. We have other people who worship their boss, or worship their career, or their favorite footballer, or favorite basketball player. So we are drawn towards worshiping, whether we want it or not. Now, in Islam, what does worship mean in Islam? Islam, worship is not just salah, it's not just zakah, it's not just hajj, it's not just siyam. Worship is anything and everything that you do to get yourself closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're going out of your way to come to the masjid, right? To listen to the sheikh talk about anything is worship. You going out of your way to provide to your family is worship. You being kind to your neighbor is worship. You smiling at someone is worship. So worship is not only praying 5 times a day, fasting during the month of Ramadan, and going to Hajj. This is not only worship. Worship is every single action. By the way, it's not just coming from my mouth. We have all the ulama that say that. Every single action that is praiseworthy, that you're doing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the worship that you do is not actually for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He says He doesn't need anything from you. The worship that you do, right, is for yourself. Nabiyuna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says, he says, إِنَّمَا بُحِسْتُ لِيُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمُ الْأَخْلَاقِ. That he has been appointed as a messenger for completing the akhlaq of mankind, the good mannerism of mankind. The good that you do is worship. The aim of salah, the aim of the obligatory prayers, the aim of all the duties that we have, religious duty, is there to make you a good person, to fulfill your character, to get your akhlaq to the perfection. This is the aim of Salah. This is the aim of the rituals. This is the aim of Islam. This is the purpose of the prophets, not just one, the Imams. This is the aim. So now you're telling me, right, that religion has an end goal to make me a good person, right? So if I'm already a good person, why do I need religion for? What's the need of religion if I'm already a good person? Right? Okay. Those that work in hospitals, those that come in contact with elderlies, those that come to contact with non-Muslims towards the end of their lives, ask them the question, what was your purpose in life? They wouldn't be able to say anything. For them, death is the end. For them, that's it. They live the life and that's it. They're finished. They don't have no future. There is nothing that they look forward to. They fall into depression, some of them. The children leave them. Right? Being a good person, right? Yes, Allah has given us the ability to reach perfection within our own means. However, it takes time and it is a very difficult thing. If you leave this earth without any religion whatsoever, you would see how this earth would be. You see the religious-less people, what they do. By the way, I'm not saying that everybody that it doesn't belong to a religion is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that not having a religion you don't have no guidance. You don't have no structure. Religion is there to give you the structure. Religion is there to give you a moral compass. Yes, we know what's good and what's bad. We know that. We have some sort of idea of what's good or what's bad. But is it always accurate? We have the example of Nabi Musa and Khidr, right? We all know the story. He went to be the disciple of Hazrat Khidr, right? The condition was, do not ask me any question. Do not ask me any question. We will go, but you don't need to ask me any question. I will perform some things. You just stay quiet and just obey as a disciple. And Hazrat Khidr do some things that in appearance are immoral, breaking the boat of someone, right? And of course, Nabi Musa cannot just sit there and say, well, it's okay, fine, do it, right? His moral compass tells him, that's wrong, that's bad, why are you doing it? But there is something deeper than that, right? You don't know what that person would have done. You don't know what would have been the result of him going the way he wanted to go. So religion gives us some guidance. Some guidance. We have the Prophet as an example and role model. So we know whatever the Prophet would have been against is immoral, right? And whatever the Prophet was doing, it was perfect, it was good. It was the way of doing things. So we have some guidance. Similarly, Nabi Isa, whatever he does is good. Whatever the prophets, the Ahlul Bayt, the Aimma, whatever they're doing is good. So we have some people to guide us towards the path. How would we have known all these things if we didn't have them? Could we have honestly known? No. And on top of that, we have the hereafter. Yes, we are good, we good human beings. Yes, it's good. How would you have known the existence of the hereafter? How? Look, religion is there to help you. It's not there to refrain, to put you in a cage. I'll give you a simple example, right? I'm here, and I'm asking you, go to my house and get my laptop. How would you know to get my laptop? How? How would you know which house is mine and which one is not mine? I need to give you guidance. Yes, you have the ability, right? It's humanly possible for you to find my house. We here in Saskatoon, you know I'm from Saskatoon. Well, I'm living in Saskatoon. You can go to every single house and eliminate the options when you know that it's not my house and grab my laptop. You can do that. But how long would it take you? In a small city like Saskatoon, it would take you at least a year. Right? And that's just for something basit, something simple. Right? So when a duty, your boss or somebody who has authority over you gives you a duty, it's righteous of him to give you the indications of fulfilling this duty. Right? I can't just give you an indication, I'm a math teacher, I give you a test and I don't tell you, I never taught you how to solve the issue, how to solve the exams. How fair is that? How fair is that? It's not fair, honestly. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. So, religion tells us that there is a hereafter, right? So the hereafter has for benefit that, we finish this test of us and we go, right? You might think, okay, Allah just He created us for us to worship Him, right? So, okay, could we not have done this worship in a realm that didn't need us to go through suffering, or didn't need us to go through hardship, or didn't need us to go through death? Could He not have done that? He just needs people to worship Him, right? He could have just created some sort of robots and let them worship Him. Actually, He's got angels. So, yeah, He could have done that. But all these things are not actually for us. They're not actually for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're for us. They are for us. Okay, we'll go back to the example of student and teacher, right? You go through school, right? If the teacher or the school gives you the diploma, the degree at the end without even you going through the struggle of finding out what math is, what English subjects they are, or what would have been the point? At the end of your study year, right, you would have just have a piece of paper that tells that you're able to do this job, for example, but would you actually have been? Those that have been through the curriculum will testify that actually it was beneficial. Those that are doctors right now can tell you it was beneficial. Yes, you might have some small things that weren't, important, but the all-nighter that you had to go through, all the revision sessions that you had to go through was important. It was for you to grow. So, Quran says, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. Be blessed is he who holds the reins of the kingdom, of the kingship in his hand, who has power over everything, who created life and death to try you, to see of you who are the best in deeds. He is almighty and forgiving. هو الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. He is the one who created life and death so that he can test you which of you is the best in deeds. So when you create something, right? You have to test it, right? You create cars, you have to test, how fast it goes. Which of the cars that I've created is best? You have to test. And test in this life is not easy. It's not an easy thing that you can just say, okay, let's just go through it. No. This lamp right now, lamp, sorry, my accent is a bit Frenchy-ish, but those light bulbs, was it created in one go? It wasn't. It's actually amazing to see, actually. 500 years ago, we couldn't have thought to have a car, Ferrari, Lamborghini, or just a simple car, a Peugeot, right? We could have imagined this thing. But whoever created them had to go through struggle, had to go through trial and error. How many times have they made a mistake? How many cars have blown out? The flies, planes. But now this is something adi, this is something normal, right? But you don't think of the one who actually created those things. The struggle that he went through. Why? It was necessary. It was necessary and it's important. Otherwise you wouldn't get a plane. Otherwise you wouldn't get a car. Otherwise you wouldn't get a truck to get here. Right? صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. So, the suffering. Yes, I get that some suffering are important, that, you need to go through tests, trial and tribulation to actually achieve a purpose. But what is the point of all these children and women suffering in Iraq? What is the point of all these women and children suffering in Yemen? What is the point of all this suffering in Syria? Or around the world, what is the point? Where does this suffering come from? If you study all these things, you will see that those suffering coming from mankind, from us ourselves. When we don't have God as the central entity in our lives, and we don't understand who God is, right? We would create all this suffering. And this suffering doesn't have to do with your Lord. It doesn't have to be with worshiping your God. It has to be with yourself. The good that we do comes from Allah. The bad that we do, it comes from ourselves. Why would you blame Allah for that? Yes, but Allah, if He wanted, He would just take them away and take the trouble away. Yes, Allah could have done that. He can. He's got everything in His ability. But Allah is Hakim. Allah is wise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put His trust on us. We are His Khalifs on earth. Right? We are His Khalifs from earth. You see, if you don't know suffering, you wouldn't reach certain levels. Our forefathers that actually went through war, went through difficulty, know the value of life. Know the value of life. They know the value of peace. We see our parents, our forefathers, or our grandparents were working three jobs. They finish one, they go to the next. All of that just to give a better life for the children. The children go to school, they have everything. Some of them go to private school. Do you think that person would have all the necessary equipment for them to deal with life? When you protect someone so much, right, that person will go through the hardest of suffering when you can't protect them anymore. If you as a man, right, you were at home, your mom was always doing the cooking, you never had to cook, you never had to do anything, even wash your laundry. Now, when you go to university and you don't have your mom and you don't have anyone with you, how would you do? You'll eat takeaway every day, right? Or you will decide to actually learn, right? But you learning when your mom is not there, or you learning from your home is not the same thing, right? Because learning from home, you would, have someone to teach you, someone to show you. Now you have YouTube, sometimes you don't even understand what they're saying. Or sometimes you wouldn't know the special ingredients that we have, right? Suffering is a necessity. I know it's easy to say when the suffering is done, right? If you go through hardship, whilst you are in the hardship, you can't see the good, right? Unless you have taqwa and iman. That's what's going to help you, right? But even when you have that, it's not that it's going to be easy. We look at the example of Nabi Yaqub. When Nabi Yusuf was taken away, he knew that eventually it would come, right? He knew. But how much suffering did he go through? He cried so much so that his eyes became even blind. He became blind from crying and suffering. He still had iman, right? Suffering is a necessity. And what helps you is your iman. And that doesn't mean that you're going to go, with your iman, you're going to go easy. It's going to be fine. You're just going to be okay. No. It's going to be hard, yes, definitely. But at least you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. So the need of religion. Every human being is drawn towards perfection, right? When you know what perfection is, then you'll go towards it. You will choose that path. But when you don't know towards perfection, you will choose other things that you think is perfect, right? It's a natural thing. We all go towards perfection. That's undeniable. I have, the 2013, BMW. Tomorrow I want to have the best one, right? I have this house. No, I want to have a bigger house. The more you have, the more you want. Because if there is more, then you want it, right? Until you find the ultimate perfection. But unfortunately, unfortunately for those that don't know it, the ultimate perfection is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's God. He is the ultimate perfection. This is why we are drawn towards Him, those that believe. So we need to reach perfection, though we can't reach it, but we can feel it. When you see somebody good, right, and you are good or you're trying to be good, you envy that person, right? You think, oh, I want to be like him. He inspires you. And that good that that person does is projected towards you. It's in any field, right? In the gym, you see somebody so muscly, you're like, oh my God, I want to be like him, right? You see somebody successful, oh my God, I want to be like him, right? And often in this quest towards perfection, we tend to want instant gratification. Nowadays, what we want is perfection right now. We see the successful businessman, we want his life. But we don't know what that person had to go through. We don't know how many loans they initially take. We don't know how many trainings they initially took, right? We don't know all this. But we want that right now. If somebody came to us and say, listen, I can give you this right now without anything, without any work, we would sign the contract, say, give me. Right? But perfections comes with time, patience, trial, tribulation. Yes. But now, we asking ourselves, yes, there is an ultimate purpose, which is, worshipping Allah, doing good, all this, right? But what is my purpose in all this? What is my purpose? That's my ultimate purpose, knowing God, worshipping God, being good. What is my personal purpose? First of all, the question of purpose, why do we ask it? Why do we ask it in the first place? You think somebody who's got everything going well in his life will actually ask, what is my purpose? No, because they already found something that filled the purpose. But when we are not at peace with ourselves, that's when we ask, what is the purpose of this life? I'm going through all this, I'm doing all that. What is the purpose? What is the purpose? You tell me, what is the purpose? I'm suffering, I lost this, I failed my exams. I'm a failure. What is my purpose? The person who's got a routine, the person who has something going on in their lives, who's doing good and who's right in their track, right? Would they ask this question of purpose? He wouldn't care, right? It's when we're not at peace with ourselves that we ask the question of purpose. The Japanese have come with this term of ikigai. So ikigai is something that you do, right? A job or something that you do for your life that has different components. And all of them need to have these components, right? All these components need to be there for ikigai to be, right? What is ikigai? Something that you love. You're doing something that you love. It's something that the world needs. Something that you're good at. And something that you get paid for. If you do something on your daily basis that has all these elements, then you'll be happy in life. The places in Japan where people have this ikigai mindset, they're known to live longer. They are the places with the most 100 years old people, right? Because they don't have all this stress. They're doing something that they love. They're doing something that the world needs, and something that they're good at, and something that they get paid for. So they don't need to worry. They don't need to question their purpose, because they have it. It tells us that your purpose is not just linked towards yourself, right? Your purpose is within others as well. When you see that what you're doing is beneficial to others, what you're doing, you're good at it, what you're doing, you're getting paid for it, and you love it, then why would you worry? So one day I went to a leadership development program, and we asked people that we knew to write a letter about our character, right? And that was to help us to know what's our purpose. And in those letters, they had to answer certain questions, something that they thought I was good at, something that they thought that, I do well, right? And when I read all these letters, I immediately knew what was my purpose in life. What was something that I could do that was beneficial to others? What was something that I could do to earn money for? And that's how I found my purpose. Ask yourself, in your daily life, what do you do to benefit others? If you're wondering about your purpose, what do you do to benefit others? In fact, the good that you do is not only to others. We all Muslim here, we surely have donated money, or we surely have volunteered somewhere. You know the feeling when it is that you're helping someone. That feeling is huge. You feel content in your heart, right? You feel like you've done something. Now imagine if you were doing something similar every single day of your life. Would you not be a happier person? You would. Would you not be someone that has their purpose? You would. Because you wouldn't even ask, anything. For anything. Because you know that what you're doing is impacting the world. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. As I said, we ask the question of purpose because we don't have peace within ourselves. And one way to find peace is with the dhikr of Allah. Allah says, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. Surely with the dhikr, with the remembrance of Allah, the hearts find peace, has itminan, tranquility. Yes, with the dhikr of Allah. And it doesn't have to be you sitting on your prayer mat and doing dhikr and dhikr. It's everything that you do. Just having Allah in your mind every single time that you do those things. When you have Allah as the center of your life, then you have peace. You know that He's the Razaq. You know that He's the provider. You know that He's there for you. I'm going to read another verse. It says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي فَعَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. When my devotee inquires about me, right, I am near and answer. Just look at it, right? It says, when my servant asks about me. So he's talking to the Prophet right now, right? And he doesn't say, tell them that I am near. He tells them, in this verse, he says, I am near. You don't even need to be the person in the between. I am near. Let them know that I am near. This verse will tell them that I am near. And he says, I answer the call of every supplicant when he calls. It behoved them to hearken to me and believe in me and they may follow the right path. Right? So the harf either is very important, right? The harf either here in actually the translation says when, right? And it's perfect because there is a difference between when and if, right? If is possibly, right? You know, if somebody asks about me, just tell them, right? But it says when. It means that there is actually surety. My servants will ask about me, right? That's for sure. Human beings are drawn to ask about God. There is no one in this existence that hasn't asked about God, right? It's just a matter of when, right? Okay. Ibadi, and he says Ibadi. Ibadi is very beloved, my servant. When my servant asked about me, right? And he's not saying, oh, Prophet, tell them. He's saying, I am near. So you need to know that Allah is near. Ujibu da'wata da'i idha da'an. In Arabic, there's two ways to say that I will answer or I'll answer, right? There is astajibu and there is ujibu. Astajibu, it means I will eventually answer, right? You know, send me an email, I'll reply to it, right? Ujibu, it means straight away I'm answering it, right? So there is something immediate. I'm doing it right now. Straight away, as soon as he asked about me, I will do it. Ujibu, what does he reply to? Da'wata da'i iza da'an. And he's saying, is answering the prayers of the caller when he asked. There is the harf the, right? Somebody that is known. If somebody random comes to you, you say a person came, right? A caller. Somebody that is not important, right? But now he's letting you know that you are important. The caller, right? Da'wat da'i is adhan. So, yes, we have a purpose, right? And our purpose is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the purpose in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through doing goods, right? And by remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will find peace in our heart. Just like our Imam have found peace. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اغفر لي وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات والأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the opportunity to be as close as Him as our Prophet. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us realize our purpose in this dunya. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep shaitan away from us and to strengthen our resilience towards things that He displeases. Against things that He displeases. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put rahmah in our heart for ourselves as well as the people that are around you, and rahmah for the people on this earth. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst the soldiers of our beloved Imam. If not, He help us contribute to the appearance of our beloved Imam, inshallah ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك أئمتك حبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك. اللهم صل وسلم على علي أمير المؤمنين وسي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. وصل على صدقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. وصل وسلم على سبتي رحمة إمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد وحسن بن علي والخلف الحج